Gosh, all right. I'm making sure I've got everything lined up properly here. And so we'll be good to go. Whew. All right. Can everybody hear me? Just give me a thumbs up or something if you can. Yeah. Okay. I see people nodding. Yay. Okay, good. Well, hello everybody. Gosh, so much fun to see people. I see Susan. I see Lucy. I just sent you a message back in the forum. Did you see that? Okay, she got it. Good. And there's Lee and June and Marie and Beth is here and Lisa and Najan is here and Linda and Mary. That looks like I think that's Angela there. And Carol and Lisa. There's Eleanor and Mo and gosh, Linda and Deborah. Boy, all these people. There's Martha and Donna and Janet and Joanne. I love seeing everybody on the call. There's Barbara. Yay, I haven't seen Barbara in a while. There's Lori over here. I had to switch screens. And Maria and Catherine and Adelaide and gosh, all right. And all kinds of people. All kinds of people. This is great. I am just thrilled. I am so excited. I love doing webinars. I mean, your voice is faint. My voice is faint. Well, let me see, because sometimes Zoom does funny things to my audio, so I will check. Oh, I can turn my level up. Check that out. That should be much better. Is that better? Okay. All right. Yep, it's amazing how Zoom will just take care of my leveling. Okay, not in ways I want, but I love doing webinars because I just love being able to teach and share, and I love seeing everybody. When we were scheduling this, my assistant said, "Well, do you want to make it a meeting or a webinar? You know, because in a webinar you would just see me and you wouldn't see each other, and I wouldn't see you either." So I said, "Oh no, make it a meeting, because then I get to see everybody." So that's always fun for me. So does everybody have the PDF for tonight? Yes. Okay. It's no big deal if you don't, because I'll give you everything you need to know. But there are essentially two things you should have, right? Because you should have the PDF that is our beautiful webinar guide for tonight with all those pretty flowers on it. And you should have the music, because that makes it just that much easier. So you can certainly participate in the webinar without having the music in front of you. And you can participate without having the guide either, because you can just take notes, but it just makes it easier and makes it a little bit more fun. So here's our plan, because we're going to get through a lot tonight. At least I certainly hope so. So in order to do that, we are going to start with the training guide, or whatever it is we call it, the webinar guide. There we go. We're going to start with the webinar guide, because I want to tell you what we're doing, why we're doing it, what this is good for, what the big deal is with learning something tonight anyway, because it is a big deal. So we're going to go through that first, and I hope not to spend too long on it, because then what we're going to do is, in the course of filling in all those blanks, we're going to have some things that we need to do to go through the music. So I'm going to show you as we go, and we will work through. I'll show you how the things that we're doing apply to all three versions of this Loch May flower duet. So you should have everything you need. I distracted myself for a moment thinking, I don't know, do you know the story of this piece and should I tell it to you? So we'll do that when we get to the music. So not to worry about that. Let's start with the whys and the wherefores and all that good stuff. So we're going to start with that webinar guide and fill it in. Everybody can hear me, yes? Because I turned up my microphone so everybody can hear me. And if you are ready, I am ready to go. So let's do this thing. So I am now looking for what screen I was supposed to be using, and I think I've got it now. All right. So let's just start with why you would want to learn something in a night. Why on earth would you want to do that? Well, here are some reasons. It shortens the path to the finish. So that's reason number one. It shortens the path to the finish. And the reason I'm saying that, what I mean by that, is that if you jumpstart a piece, instead of starting, note by note, okay, I've got the brand new piece and I'm going to start with measure 1. If you can jumpstart that whole process, you get to the finish faster. And it's not just because you're looking at the whole piece, but it's also because you're keeping it in mind the entire time, and you're keeping the goal of your practice in mind the entire time. That's going to come up any number of times as we talk tonight, so I'm not going to belabor that right now. So number 1, it shortens the path to the finish. Number 2, it puts the musical goal first. Instead of worrying about technique and fingers and fingering and placing and all that kind of stuff, it makes you think about the music, which is our ultimate goal. And what this helps you do is get to the flow right from the beginning, because you're not looking at the piece just in these little chunks, right? These little separate chunks of measures or groups of notes. We're looking at the overview. I will tell you, just to warn you, this is very different from just playing through the piece. And you'll see what I mean when we get there. So it's not just playing through the piece, although that's very helpful. However, there's more to come. So that's number 2. It puts the musical goal first. Number 3, it reminds you of what you already know. I'll say that again. It reminds you of what you already know. Here's the thing. When we were first starting the harp, or when we were in our beginning stages, we had to pay very much attention to where those fingers were on the strings and what was happening, and we had to go slowly. But we've learned a lot over the course of time, and unfortunately, we often forget to give ourselves credit for what we know. There are some things that would have been hard for us a while back that aren't hard now. And one of the best ways to figure out, to find out, to discover what you already have learned is by just playing something instead of assuming that you have to work as hard on it as you used to. So that's our number 3. It reminds you of what you already know, because oftentimes you know more than you think. Number 4, this system that we're talking about tonight is a system that builds your confidence. That's the entire point. It builds your confidence because there's nothing about the piece that you don't know. You're looking at it from such a high level. Let me give you a comparison. This system is sort of like if you were a grand master of chess. I don't really even play chess, so my analogy might not hold water if you're a really good chess player, but I think it does. So if you're a grand master in chess, you don't look at the board and say, oh, look, there's a pawn and there's a knight. And isn't that the one that has that screwy little move where it goes 2 and then 1 and it turns a corner and the bishop? And you're not seeing the pieces on the board. You're seeing the entire layout, and you're able to form a strategy that takes the entire board into account. We want to get to that point with our playing. And we all do. Piece by piece. Every piece we learn gives us more of that kind of knowledge. So we don't want to start from the chess beginner standpoint, which is, okay, do I move my pawn 2 squares or 1 square now? Should I move my bishop? Oh, no, I shouldn't. We don't want to start from that level if we don't have to. We want to start from the grandmaster level. Even if it's not going to be perfect, even if it's not going to be right, that's the view we want. And that's where our confidence will come from. It's going to build your confidence as we go. And number 5. This was funny because I gave this draft of the PDF to my assistant who does all the beautiful stuff. I can't make these look beautiful, but she does. So I gave her the plain old, file with words and stuff on it. And I only had 4 blanks here. I had 1, 2, 3, 4. I didn't have a 5th one, but she had a 5th one there. And so I could have just said, "Oh, I'm sorry, Lindsay, could you correct that? Because I really only mean 4." And I might have. But I came up with a fifth one so quickly that I'm going to share it with you now. So here's the quick win in Why Learn It Tonight. And it's this: because we were not put on this earth to just practice. We want to play. And that's what this system will help you do. So it will help you play. Okay? All right. Let's move right along, because the faster we can get to the system, the faster we can start working on it. So, when might this system be helpful to you? I would say you could use this from day one with any piece. If I gave you a new piece of music tomorrow, all my music is down on the floor right now because I cleared my music stand. So if I were to give you a new piece, you could use this system right now, day one with any piece. But if you've been playing a piece for a while, you can use it to shortcut the messy middle. You know what the messy middle is, right? Because you've been playing a piece for a little while. You start it and everything goes fine, and then you get into that slog where it has to get up to tempo and it has to flow and the hands have to go together, and it just seems to take a long time between the time you start and the time you can actually feel like you play the piece. That's the messy middle. And this system will help you get out of that messy middle faster. It'll help you shortcut that whole process. So I'm not saying you don't have to do that work, but it's going to make it easier to move out of the messy middle sooner. Number 3 here. This is great to practice sight reading. Everybody needs to practice sight reading. This is a great way to do it. Even if you've seen the piece before, even if you've worked on the piece before, this is a reminder of what we do in sight reading. We play. And number 4, why would you want to do this? When could it be helpful to you? To find out what your fingers know. Now, this goes along with what I said a moment ago about, you don't know what you already know, right? But let's find out what our fingers know. And you don't find this out if you're just doing slow practice. Because if you're doing slow practice, you're not challenging your fingers perhaps up to the level they could be challenged. But if you get in there and you ask them to just play something, they might surprise you. It'll be like, wow, I used to have to work on those chords like that, and now I just kind of played them. That's the idea. We can find out what your fingers know. Now, I will take some questions, but I'm going to finish this whole page first. And then we can talk a little bit, because then we get to the nitty gritty. So our Learn It Tonight concept is this. I want you to start as if. All right, there are 2 words for today, as if. And here's word 1, or the thing to fill in that first blank. As if you had to play it tomorrow. Really, as if you had to play it tomorrow. I mean, what if somebody came to you with this piece and said, "Boop, I need you to play it tomorrow"? Most of us would say, "I'm sorry, I need a little while to practice." But the point is, it's okay if we're not going to play it tomorrow. But the point is, we're not going to build in a long time frame or work without a time frame at all. We're like, "Oh, I'll play it someday." No, we want to work as if we had to play it tomorrow. We want to get this done. And the second as if is as if you knew you could play it. Think about that one for a second. Think about how many pieces you have started. And then you haven't, you've started them with this sort of fear and trepidation, thinking, wow, I don't know if I'm going to be able to play this. It's hard, it's long, I've never done this before, it's in a funky key, it's got lever changes, whatever it is. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it. Well, we're going to start this as if you knew you could. Because I truly believe that for all of us, we know more than we think. But we have to experiment with it from time to time. And that's what as if will do. So this is what as if means in more practical sense. All right. It means starting large. We're going to start from the music. We're going to start with everything that's there and we're going to look at it. So we're going to start large. And if you want to skip down to that next section, as if doesn't mean starting small, starting from the notes and the fingering and just getting in there and, tiptoeing into the water of the piece. We don't want to do that. We want to start large. As if means layering learning by musical function. That sounds so sophisticated. We're going to layer your learning, and you'll see it's very simple, by musical function. Skipping down to the doesn't mean would be layering your learning by physical necessity. So in other words, layering your learning by saying, I'm going to learn the right hand and I'm going to learn the left hand. And then I'm going to put them hands together. There's a different way to look at it. It's going to involve some hands separately, but there's a different way to look at it. Musical function is very different than just right hand, left hand. And you'll see that tonight in this piece for sure. But it applies to any piece. As if means playing an overview right from the first. An overview from the first. We're not going to start measure by measure. We're going to get an overview of the whole thing. You knew that was coming. We talked about that already. As if doesn't mean waiting to try to play the piece until each measure is ready. Waiting to play until each measure is ready. Like, okay, I've learned the first one. Now I can work on the second one. Now, and now I've learned the first two lines. So now I'm going to look at the next two lines. It can take you a long time to work through a piece like that. And you probably don't have to. Okay, so I'll review those again. As if means starting large, layering learning by musical function, and playing an overview from the first. As if doesn't mean starting small, like from the notes. It doesn't mean layering learning by physical necessity. And it doesn't mean waiting to play until each measure is ready. I know, kind of wacky. So what we're doing next, as we move on to the next page, is we're going to talk about the techniques that are required, or the techniques that I want to share with you anyway, for working on those things, starting large, layering by musical function, and getting that overview right from the first. And we're going to talk about how to do that, and then we're going to do it with this piece. So you can tell I'm moving a little bit quickly because I want to have plenty of time to play. But let me just take a minute and let me see, do you have questions at this point? Or are you ready to just move on and see where we go from here? Okay. All right. Okay. Everybody's poised. So I think we're ready to go. All right. I'm going to move right along. That's okay, because we can always come back and do questions. You're going to have plenty of questions in a minute. So let's move on to page 2 here. How to start large. For each one of these 3 things, I came up with an essential question. The question that you need to ask yourself and you need to answer about the piece. And the point of these questions is that they're giving your practice, they're giving you whatever part of your practice you're doing at this point, they're giving your practice a very specific function, and that or focus. And that focus is geared toward playing the piece, toward making it a piece of music. So the essential question for starting large is this. When it's all finished, how should the piece sound? What is the musical idea of the piece? A couple different ways to say that question right there. How should the piece how should the piece sound is the main thing. Not just is it fast or slow, but is it melancholy? Is it cheerful? Is it dancy and frolicky and happy? How should it sound? What's the idea of it? And sometimes it's really clear. The composer has said, "A walk in the woods." Well, all right, but still, what kind of woods is it? Are they scary woods? Are they beautiful, open, leafy woods? Are they dark pine forests? Right? So, what's the musical idea? I know this isn't where we usually start. We usually get that part at the end when we're ready to think about how those notes need to be expressed. But all of the piece and all of the learning goes better if we think of this first. And so how do you practice it? If you want to practice it that way, well, and this is where we're going to start. The essential practice idea is to play the melody only, but with the musical idea in mind. See, I told you there'd be some hands separately in here. We're going to play the melody only, but play it with the musical idea in mind. We want to make it sound as much the way it's supposed to as we possibly can. And that's going to be the first thing we do in just a moment here. So we'll give you some tips and stuff as we actually work through it. But let's finish this little page here. How to layer by musical function. The essential question here is, what do the notes mean? Well, some of those notes are melody, so they mean the melody. Some of those notes are accompaniment to the melody. Are they the bass line? Is there a counter melody, like a little harmony line that goes along with it? Where does the tune happen, right? So our essential question here is, what do the notes mean? Because I don't want to waste time for myself practicing even one measure of a piece if I don't know what those notes are supposed to be doing. Oh, okay, this is accompaniment, and okay, this is melody. Oh, and the melody changes hands. It goes here, it goes here. I want to find out what that melody is, what the other notes are doing, because those other notes have a purpose too. So the essential practice idea that we're going to work on for this one is you need to identify and then combine the other musical elements in the piece one at a time with the melody. It's going to be playing the melody and the bass and the melody and the counter melody and all those things, finding out how each of those things works with the melody. So again, it's identify and combine other musical elements one at a time with the melody. Identify and combine other musical elements one at a time with the melody. It's not just hands separately, and you'll see that in a moment. By the way, this is terrific practice for sight reading because it helps you learn to identify the structure of a piece really, really quickly. So we'll talk a little bit more about that too. And then playing an overview from the first. Here's your essential question. How could I play the piece today? If I had to play it today, how much of it could I play? How could I play it? Well, and the thing here is, once you've looked at those musical elements and you've seen the melody and you've seen the bass line, you not only know what's important, but you know what's not. You know what you can leave out. So the essential practice idea here, and it is a practice idea, not just a playing tactic, is to play as much as you can with the idea of feel and flow right now. So you're going to play as much as you can right now, it might have been a better way to say that, with the idea of the feel and the flow that you want. Okay, it's not going to be perfect, but that's okay. You're going to play as much as you can, as close to that finished product as you can. And it works. Does it mean everything's going to be correct? No. but you're going to be way further along following these three techniques. You're going to be way farther along learning your piece than you ever would have been without it. It makes things go a lot faster. A lot faster. So, if you guys are ready, I'm ready to start looking at the piece. I'm going to just move some things around on my computer screen so I can see what I'm doing, and I'll come back here into the chat because I see I need to, and that's fine. Can this work with a larger piece like the Debussy dances? Absolutely. This works with any piece. This absolutely will work with the Debussy dances. In fact, I can just about guarantee you that when I first learned the Debussy dances, that's probably exactly what I did. And to this day, every time I get it out to rework it, that's where I start. I play it through because now that I know the piece, I want to start with my musical decisions. And I'm going to give you one more important thing to consider as we work through this way, because you're going to have questions for me. and this will help explain some of my answers. The way you want to play the piece when it's done is going to affect your fingering choices and other choices as well. But a fingering that works, for instance, at a very slow tempo may not work at the tempo you absolutely want to play it. So starting with that perspective of this is where I want to go can save you a lot of time and trouble, because it's going to give you the right perspective on, whoa, okay, this is the part I need to work on for my fingering, or this is the way I want this phrase to go. You can't always get everything you need from just working slowly. So I'm not going to try to make you speed through the tempo here. Fortunately, it's a nice slow piece, but we're going to work through the flower duet here with those things in mind. So, are you ready to get started? Yes, okay, so let's do it. So there are 3 different versions here, and I'm going to start with the one that says Easy Lever Harp. And we're going to start with our very first essential question, which is, how should this piece sound? What is the musical idea of the piece? Well, I don't know if how many of you are familiar with the opera Lakme. And, you know, like all operas, it has a lovely, complicated plot. However, this piece happens early on in the opera, and it is our heroine, the princess, who is the Arabian princess, really, and she's in this walled garden, and it's very private because, of course, you know, nobody's allowed to see her, and it's very beautiful. There's a pool in it, and there are flowers, obviously, and, you know, all kinds of exotic plants and smells, and it's a beautiful, beautiful place. And she is enjoying this beautiful space privately, because it's her own private sanctuary, with her maid, her personal maid. And this is a duet that the two of them sing together about how beautiful everything is, and how, you know, lovely the scent is and the colors, and that's what this is. So it truly is just beautiful and very calm. And so you can tell that it happens early in the opera, because everything always gets much more agitated the further along we get in an opera. So our first job then is to think, well, how do we want this to sound? Well, it's going to sound lovely. It's going to sound smooth. It's going to sound flowing. And you've probably heard this piece. You know, all kinds of commercials have used this piece. And it's just beautiful, right? So we're going to find the melody. So we need to start and play through the melody with that idea in mind. Your basic strategy here is going to be No, and it doesn't matter which version of this piece you're using or what piece you're using, whether it's this or the Debussy dances or anything else. You're going to play through the melody the way you want it to go, at tempo or as close to tempo as you can. Then we can do it a little slower for clarity, and then you can do it faster again if you want. But you want to choose your original tempo by the way you want the melody to sound. You don't have to find a metronome number for this. This isn't about numbers. The idea here is to begin to merge your playing with the actual idea of the piece. So if you need to, with some other piece, you can use a recording to help you find an idea of the tempo. I mean, if it's a piece you've never heard before and there's no tempo marking there and you have no idea, well, you go ahead and listen to it. And you do have to count. If the counting is tricky, you can just sort of approximate it at this stage, because you'll get in there and correct it as you go. This is not the time to focus on the fingering. You might even end up leaving out notes when you play through, just to get the melody to flow properly. So what we want to do, though, is just focus on the notes. However they come to your fingers, don't worry about the fingering. Don't let that trip you up. Just read the notes. Okay, so we're going to start. And in fact, since I'm not going to play all the notes, I might not be using all the right fingers. I'm just going to play the melody note. This does not mean the right hand. It means the melody. So I'm going to start with the E, and I'm going to count I want it to go about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. That's about where I'm going. So I'll count a measure and then I'll play. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now we're on the second page. Once again, I'm only playing the melody. I'm not playing, so these extra notes in the right hand, I'm not playing. Second page. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1. And I think the rest is just an arpeggio. You might not have seen those double little slashy lines before. They're formerly called a chisora, which just means like a cut, chisora. We often call them railroad tracks. And when you see the railroad tracks, it's a break. So all of a sudden that just kind of stops. Bum, ba-da. Breath. In this case, it's a beautiful pause before those final two notes. So this was all we did, play through the melody. But that's sort of how it goes. Now I would play it myself one more time and I'd think about the flow. Then I might try it just a little bit slower, counting carefully and just, figuring out, particularly if I had missed notes, I'd figure out what was going on there. And then I'd do it a little bit faster again. But I'd spend a little bit of time just with the melody. Kimberly says, can we get a copy of this? Well, the replay will come out tomorrow. You will get an email with the replay tomorrow. So yeah, absolutely. Okay, now this version is a little bit different than the other two because it leaves out a middle section. So we're going to go right ahead and take a look at the intermediate lever harp version. It's in C major as well. You can see there are some other notes in there, but the melody doesn't change. The whole first page, the melody is exactly the same. So that's fine. But things look a little bit more complicated when we get to the second page. So it would be worth looking at the second page and seeing if we can find the melody here. The melody here is sort of interesting. If you look at measure 9, the B-A-G-A-B looks like it ought to be melody, but the harmonic is actually higher. That harmonic in the left hand. And that's actually where the melody is. This is another place where a recording could come in handy for you. It's like, oh, those harmonics in measure 9 and measure 10 on the second beat and measure 11 on the second beat, 9, 10, and 11, they're actually melody. So the melody here in measure 9 is the left hand, 1, and then the right hand, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You see how that works? Now, how would you know that? Well, because you could listen to a recording. I mean, you might not find everything, at first. It doesn't have to be exactly right, but you make your best guess. If you've heard this piece before, you might realize that, oh, wait, that's melody. If in this case, if you go back and you look at that easy lever version, you'll see it's the melody, because they have it there in bars 9, 10, and 11. We just have more notes in this version. So then what happens is we have new notes starting in bar 13 that don't show up in the easier version. So we'll start with that. So let's take a look at bar 13, and we have more melody to find. So bar 13, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That may not be melody, huh? But we can play it for melody right now if we like. 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now we're back to the beginning again. This melody, right? 5, 5, 6, 1, 2. And we've seen that before. Oh, except at the end, our melody gets a harmonic in it, doesn't it? Hello, there it is in this harp. So it was a little bit trickier to find the melody in this version because there are more notes, but we looked and we found it. In the B-flat version, the intermediate pedal harp version, which is pretty close to the intermediate lever version, but it's in a different key. The melody, if you look at it, the melody's the same for the first page. And then it does the same thing. Oh, that's not a beautiful printing job. It does the same thing that the lever version does in bar 9, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's where that melody is. And all the rest, the melody looks pretty much the same as what we've done. So not terribly different there. So that's where I would start. I would start going through the melody. So just because we can, let's go back to the intermediate lever harp version and let's go through the melody so that those of you who want to play along can. If you're doing the pedal harp version, switch for just a moment, if you have it, to the intermediate lever version because it's pretty close as far as the melody goes. So, all right. Here we are then. So this is the intermediate lever version. And those of you who are playing the easy one, you can play along with us too. Use your melody. Just remember that once you get to the end of bar 12, you have to wait for us because we have some extra measures. Okay? So here we are. From the beginning, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Here's that harmonic. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, easy people, you can come in now again too. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6, 1. And there's the melody. Now that's really nice, right? It's a little bit different than just hands separately playing, particularly when we got down to this harmonic. It's wonderful when you have something like that and you can find it. You think, oh, wait, I see the melody's in another hand. Lots of times there might be lines drawn to help you find the melody. You've seen that in some pieces, I'm sure, if the melody switches and goes from hand to hand. But here, there's nothing to indicate it to you. You would have to have heard it and known. But knowing that at this point and practicing it that way gives you a sound of it that you don't get another way. Okay, so that part's pretty okay. Let's go on to step 2. This is this layering, right? What do the notes mean? So we're going to think about this as finding the pieces. It's like, imagine that you had a coloring book and you had the outlines. That's what we're looking for. We're looking for that bone structure. We're looking for that outline, where that structure is in the piece. We found the melody. Now we need to find other things. So you might find something that supports it, like, okay, here's harmony. If you're looking at the easy lever harp version, I see 1, and then I see something there. So there's some harmony. I've got a bass line and a chord, and that would support the melody. I see that in bar 1. I see it in bar 2. I see a low note in bar 3. I'm ignoring all those extra 16th notes for a second. But if I went through this and I played everything that was a chord or a bass note, but not the extra 16th notes, what would it sound like? It would give me the melody. It would give me a lot of the harmony. And that's probably where I would start with any piece, thinking about, okay, so there's the melody and where's the harmony? Now, if you're doing this with the Debussy dances, it starts, and And I'm bringing this up because it's a more complicated piece. So, but you still are starting with the melody. And then maybe you start with the outline of the octaves. Boy, those A's turned out to be out of tune. They were in tune a moment ago. Goodness. Let's just try it this way. That's closer. Okay. So, let's try the easy lever harp version, and we'll go through it. It'll probably be a little bit of hit or miss, but let's figure out, we'll add the bass line and the chords, so it's got some harmony to it, and then the melody. But anything that is a 16th note that's not part of the melody, we're not going to play that. We'll play everything else. All right, so here we go. 4, this is the easy lever version again. 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh goodness. 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1. We could play the arpeggio if we want. Why not? 5, 6. And this last chord. Well, this got a lot closer to the piece. This is not a simple way to look at it, but it's really, really good for you. Picture your favorite super vegetable or superfood. This, what it's doing is allowing you to look at, oh good, somebody loves this, I'm glad. It's allowing you to look at the pieces that are part of the music without having to look at everything that is complicated. You could call it strategic ignoring if you like. Because we're going to ignore all these extra 16th notes that look really hard. We're going to play the ones that are part of the melody, but we're not going to play anything else. So I just said, okay, I'm not playing all those 16th notes in the left hand. Not doing them. We're going to play everything else. This is what, this is a great skill for sight reading because it teaches you to find what you can play and ignore what you can't and still keep going. This is also one of those bridging the gap techniques between hands separately and hands together. When all the notes hands together are really challenging, this gets you part of the way there without everything. Kimberly says, awesome. The years I spent agonizing. Okay, good. Well, I like that. That's good. So let's think about this again, still on this easy lever version. Just decide that we're not going to play any left-hand 16th notes unless we want. I mean, we could, but we're not. We're just going to stick with the melody and the stuff that's harmony. And we're not going to worry about the other stuff. Jean says, yay, I get it. All right, yay. All right. You know, we could practically play the piece just this way. Yeah, it's got a little bit of emptiness to it, right? But we're learning to see what we want to see. I know, we all see what we want to see and we don't see what we don't want to see, right? But to pick out what we think is important. So let's try this easy lever version this way one more time. No matter what version you think you want to play later, let's do this version. And for right now, once again, all the left-hand 16th notes we are ignoring. Just about everything else we can play because it's melody or it's harmony. And that's what we're working with. All right, so once more for melody and harmony. Would it help if I went just a little bit slower? The tempo? Yeah, it would? Okay. I sort of thought so. Okay, so we'll go just a little bit slower. Like, let's see, 1, 2. Okay, so 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Look ahead. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Be sure you're looking ahead for what your left hand's going to do next. 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1. Leave out this left hand. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. Take your time here. 5. Our railroad tracks. 6, 1. And let's go ahead and play this. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1. Okay, feel like you're getting closer? We're inching up to this piece. Okay. We're going to stick with this version for just a second because there's another layer we need to look at. We do need to look at those left-hand 16th notes because they're part of the piece. But we're not just going to add them in. We're going to just do the melody and the counter melody. That's what this is, right? So if you look at measure 3, in the real piece, the princess is singing one of these lines and her maid is singing the other line. And actually, in the real piece, they're very close together. They're all up here. Right? But it's much easier to play them for us when they're further apart. So we have a very deep voice made here, but that's okay. It still sounds beautiful. So what we're going to do, we're not going to play this. We're not going to play the chords. We're just going to play the melody and the counter melody. It's a really different way to look at this piece, but let's see what happens. It's as if we were just those two singers and we were practicing by ourselves. So from the beginning, you ready? We'll do it a couple times because you'll stumble through it a little bit, and that's to be expected. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Wow. Okay. Here we go. Bar 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Here they are close together. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. They're both in the right hand now. 6, 1. And how would you know that? You wouldn't necessarily. You just make your best guess. You don't have to be right or wrong with this. But it's a way to practice it. Now, if there were, looking at the counter melody, is one thing, looking at the bass line is another thing, looking at maybe chords or arpeggios that fill things in. If you take the piece and you take it apart, not necessarily by right hand, left hand, that would be the physical way to do it. But if you take it apart by the musical idea, here's the melody, here's the bass, here's the texture going on in the middle, the accompaniment, here's the counter melody, whatever it is, because each piece is going to be a little bit different. But if you take those parts of it and you look at it that way, you're looking at it from a very musical perspective. That's what Nancy just said. Very different, useful way of looking at and practicing music. It's a musical perspective rather than just okay, I'm going to get in there and I'm going to play those notes perspective. And that's what can make this useful to you, not just in learning music, but it can help with your sight reading because you're looking at structure, you're looking at function. And this is something that when you develop a little bit of skill with that, you can learn instantly what you can leave out, what you have to have in, and how to keep on going. You can see it's a challenge to read this way. But it's a good way to practice. I mean, it's not the only way to practice, right? You want to be doing some of the other stuff too. But this is, I think, generally more effective than hands separately, and certainly requires a lot more involvement in the piece, right? Hands separately, you can kind of zone out sometimes. So now I just want to look at the other versions here where things are just a little bit different. There are some extra notes in the other versions, but they're pretty similar. And you can still find that counter melody here, right? You can still find that. That's all there. The harmony's there. So looking at the intermediate lever version, if we wanted to play melody and harmony, but without the left hand 16ths, without the counter melody, should we try that? And if you want to play along on the easy version, once you get to measure 12, you have to drop out, and then until we're done our extra 8 measures or so. But here we go. So the intermediate lever harp version, we're just do melody and harmony. So not the left hand 16ths. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, did that 16th. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1. Ooh, let's start there again. Did that confuse you when we got there? Right? The melody is all of a sudden here. So we're not going to play these 16th notes, but we need this melody and this harmony we can do. So it's interesting to sort of all of a sudden pick that out. You might not get that at the first look, but when you're thinking about it later, you can go, oh, look at that. Okay, I see. This is melody and that's harmony. Think how helpful that is when you're trying to put expression into something, right? So let's do measure 9 again. The pedal harp version is exactly the same idea here. So bar 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Here's this different stuff. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1. Wow. Okay, so let's stop right there. We'll come back in at bar 17. There was practically nothing other than melody and harmony in there that we decided to play. We could have divided it differently if we wanted, but there it was. So that was a lot of notes all at once. And that could be something you want to go back and look at, but at least it's there. So bar 17 is where we stopped. And I see these G's and I see melody and I see harmony. I don't see any of that counter melody stuff. So for the next few bars too, we're playing just about everything. I'll go just a little bit slower. So here's bar 17, 4, 5, 6. 1, G, G and then harmonic, 4, 5, 6. Gosh, levers or pedals. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3. Ah, something to practice here. 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we'll go on. And bar 21. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, that was an extra note. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1. And no left hand 16ths at this point. 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, that's counter melody, so I'm not going to play it. There you go. But oops. But this is harmonization. I can do that. So once again, you're looking at just picking and choosing what you play and what you don't, but you're going through the whole thing. And I think that's the biggest thing I want you to take away from this, that you can get that overview of the piece and play through it, and you get to choose what you leave out at this stage in order to get it to happen and to get the piece to sort of come together in your mind. You'll put it back, but you can say, all right, I'm gonna do it, and it's not random. What you're taking out for a reason. And say, okay, this is a counter melody. These are too many arpeggios. I'm going to take out all the arpeggios. And that gives you a way to look at this. So just fairly quickly, looking at the pedal harp version, it's much the same as what we just did, especially on the first page. What happens in bar 13, you have more notes, right? There are more left-hand 16th notes to account for. And so you can decide, this is one of those situations where I might say that, okay, I'm not going to play any of those left-hand 16ths yet. So that here I am, oops, with the right pedals. Here I am in bar 13. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And now I'll play these. But I'm going to leave out those 16ths and just leave them out and put them in later, just again to get the framework here. So let me see, somebody, both lever harp arrangements have 2 pages, 18 measures. Interesting. Oh, you might have old versions. Okay, I'll make sure you get new versions. I'll take a look at that, because if the intermediate lever only has 18 measures, then I did newer parts. So I'll be sure you get that. I shall write that down. I didn't realize that was, I thought I had checked it, but I guess not. I will check it and make sure you have the right ones. Okay, I will do that today. Let's see what else is here. I'm coming back to the chat if I can find everything. Confused about that version? Yep, sorry about that. Okay, but the yeah, that's fine. You will get the right copy that has all that stuff in it. So I must have redone it and not known. So everybody who got it from the shop got the other version, got the one with the longer intermediate version. So I'll make sure you get the right one. I will just change it on the My Harp Mastery site for you, and you'll have the right one. Okay? All right. Pedal harp version. That's where we were. So after this, then we were talking about the overview, right? To play as much as you can with that idea of feel and flow. So to finish this up, you've seen what's hard in whichever version you're looking at. You've seen what those hard parts are and what you're going to need to actually drill down and work on. But you've seen a lot of the piece that you can play without necessarily having to practice it a lot. So you want to take those parts that you can play. Maybe it's just the melody and the bass notes that you can play, or maybe it's the beginning, or maybe it's the end, or whatever it is. Take those and play those. If it's just the melody, and if it's just the melody and the bass, take it and play those all the way through as if that was all you had to play. So let's go back to that easy lever version. I'm not going to worry about the intermediate lever version now that I know that doesn't work. So, but the easy lever version will work for you. So let's go and let's take a look at that. And you decide for you how much of this you can play. Can you play just the melody and just play it all the way through? Okay. Can you add the first left-hand note in each measure? Can you, what's that? Must have kicked something. Can you play the chords as well, all the harmony? That's what this comes to. Okay, so let's just do it once, and then I have a couple things that I want to talk to you about, but let's play through it once. So this is the easy lever version, and you're going to play the parts of it that you can, but play at least the melody, as assuming that you can manage that. Once again, don't worry about the fingering. You can go back and fix that. But we're going to go and we're going to play through. If you can do the melody, the bass, the chords, if you can do the whole thing, that's great. I'm going to play the whole thing. And you can play just the part of it that you can. And that's just fine. So here we go. 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1. Okay, now, a couple of things. What we just did, playing through with however much of it that you can play, I would do that like once a week, no matter where you are in your learning process with it. So that, I mean, as you learn more, you can always put more in, right? But if you do it at least once a week or maybe even every day, you're keeping the sound of the piece in your head. One of the most dangerous things that we do or don't do, depending on how you look at it, is as we practice and the more we drill down on those notes to fix them and make them right, the more we lose the music, the further we get from what we're really trying to do. And that's the point of this, or one of the points anyway, to help you keep that in your ear and to remember that all that drilling that you're doing is to make this, is to make that, to make that music come alive. And you don't have to do it with absolutely every single note. Well, you're welcome, Janet. And thank you, June, for saying it's a lovely arrangement. It works out fine, and you'll be happy to have the other arrangement as well. So sorry about that. So anyway, this was, if you have questions about the arrangement, other than the fact that apparently I had the wrong intermediate arrangement, this is a great time to talk about that. And we can go through those questions. Once again, I need to put out a plea. You know, we have our Android app in progress. We have our Apple app in the App Store. So you can go right, it's like right there on your iPhone. And I know that some of you have been using the app, and I'm so excited about it. It's a free app, but one of the best things about the app is that you can access all your courses from it. So that if you, no matter what Harp Mastery courses you have bought, it's all right there. You can get to your library right from your phone or from your iPad. So it's much, much simpler. And the hub, our community, that's also in the app. So that's right there. And we have some other things that we're introducing in the app as well. So it's, we're still working on it, but we definitely need testers for the Android app still. I need Google is putting us through a second round of testing. We already did a round of testing with testers, but now they're putting us through a second round, and I still need more testers. If you have, and so I'm going to sweeten the deal here. If you have an Android phone or an Android tablet, and you would like to be an app tester, because you might like the app eventually. If you'd like to be an app tester, here's the deal. First of all you have to do is email me and I'll put you on the list, because as soon as I have about 25 testers, I can go back to Google and we can start the test. And then it's a 14-day test, and then hopefully they approve it this time. It's not that they didn't approve it last time, they just wanted more testing. But for all of my app testers, I am gifting all my app testers a $15 gift certificate to our Harp Mastery shop, which would either buy you sheet music or, Spark journals or mugs. A $15 gift certificate would cover the cost of a mug. So if you would like to be an Android tester, I would be so, so grateful. Just send me an email and let me know, and I'll put you on the list. So, Ruth says she can play most of this piece already. Yay! Motivates you to practice the more difficult parts to level up. I just love that. Carol says it's wonderful to have a way to emphasize making the music of the piece from the very beginning. Yes. Karen thinks it's a fun and productive workshop. Yay! Loved playing along. Yes. Working on the pedal harp version is nice. If you've got a pedal harp, the pedal harp version is fun. So a few more notes. Any questions about any of this that we worked on tonight? So once again, I apologize for the wrong intermediate version, but we'll fix that. So I will fix it on the website, and it's only the My Harp Mastery people that will have the wrong one. So I'll be sure I post it for you in the forum as well. And that way you'll know you have it and have the right one. I am so sorry. What is this? Let me see. Steph is gonna be an app tester. Yes. Tara, useful way to dissect the music. My question is, how do you learn this in one night? By skipping some of the notes that can be deleted? Well, yes and no. First of all, yes, you could, if you had to play this in one night, you would just have to figure out what you would leave out in order to do it. And so when we looked at it tonight, we gave you a way to figure out what you might want to, how you might want to figure that out and leave those things out. But what I really want you to think about is that what you have learned in this piece in one night, even if you can't play all the notes yet, what you have learned is that you can play all the way through it, just maybe not with all the notes, but you're so much closer to it than you would be as if you just started measure by measure. And I think that that's a huge win. But looking at a piece this way, depending on your particular playing level and the level of the piece that you're looking at, I mean, if you have a piece that is closer to your level, you will play it in one night with this. This was the sort of thing, it has three different versions of it, but it's quite possible that not any of those versions were exactly at your level. I mean, let's face it, even the easy one has a lot of notes, right? So you might not have been able to learn this every single note in one night. But if you have, and I'll turn back to that easy version, if all you have is this, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, yeah, you can play all the way through. And that's how you would need to do this piece, because it could be a little bit harder for you. So different message and different way to look at something, for sure. But imagine what this does for you, right? If you're leaving out notes but you're still playing this through, you have something that, people are coming over to the house tomorrow, you have to have something to play, you don't have anything to play, you could do that. Nobody else is going to know that all those notes aren't there. Oh, somebody has a question too, June. Choice of using finger 2 at the end of bar 17. Bar 17. Oh, here? That way? That? Well, because it's a lovely, light, beautiful sounding fingering. If it doesn't sound the same if you place it. that lift between all the notes is something, and it's a very typical fingering for something like this, and that's why it is, because that lift just gives extra life to it. Oh, she says picking out the melody first really helped. Yeah. Productive, and you liked it. Good. Helpful strategies. Terrific. Ah, Lois, I like that. She likes getting permission to omit parts that would be cumbersome. Yeah. Nathan says, as a slow sight reader, this is still a challenge, but it does offer a direction. Yes, and I think that that's the point. I know it will help your sight reading to be able to learn that to ignore some of the things that are there. I think sometimes we get bogged down in our sight reading because there's so much information on the page and so many notes, and learning to ignore and to ignore with intention, I think is a good skill. So, oh, good. All right. Excellent. Connie loved it. So freeing, and she'll be a tester. There we go. So then how do we work on putting the parts we can't play in? Well, that's good old fashioned practice, Linda. That's good old fashioned. Okay. All right. So this is okay. So you might need to drill that. And that's good old fashioned practice. Whatever it is you need to do, you go back and you do the way you usually do, but you never let go of that overview version. That's the thing. And that's that third step. It's like, okay, I did that. Now I'm going to go back and I'm going to play the whole thing and I'll see if it works. And it's still, that section still might not work. And you could leave it out if you want, but you go back and you keep the music in front of you. It's going to make things work so much better when you can do that. So, oh, this is good. Eileen says this method is great. Feel so much better about my habit poking around with a piece between an initial sight reading and actually working on it. Good. Adelaide says, if I could leave half the Duet Sonata in C out. No, your examiners won't like that. No. There comes a point probably when you need to play all the notes. So that's funny. Okay. That's so funny. Okay. All right. So, yeah. I like that Duet Sonata. Is this one you mean? I'm sitting in the wrong place. I can't get anything. Gosh, it's been a long time. I don't remember it as yeah, you'd have to. Yeah, it's back. Adelaide said yes. Yeah, it's been a long time since I played that one. Okay, it's a great piece. It's a lot of fun, but that's a piece that you could certainly have started the same way, right? Looking at this and the melody with just that. Now I'm sitting crooked and my feet are all funky. Right? What kind of harp do I have? This is a Salzedo model, a Lion Healy Salzedo model. I have 3 of those, and I have a Lion Healy 23 as well. So it's a couple more harps than I really need, but I am very fortunate to have them. So any other questions about this or about this system? Don't get caught up in trying to get all the parts of this together. Think about what you're really trying to do. You're trying to keep your focus on the music and to keep that level of musicality going, right? It's so easy to get in that black hole of fixing. But at some point we have to play. And the fixing goes a lot better if you're really thinking about what you want those notes to do instead of just whether or not they're right. So keeping the music in the front of your mind is important. Kimmy says, nah, many harps is good. You have a petite 85. Oh, good for you. Same as too many beautiful flowers. It's impossible. Angela, I love that. Yeah, well, but you know what? You have to be able to play them all the time. So that's, I don't like when they just sit there. That's no good. But okay, any other questions? And thank you to those of you who are volunteering to be Android testers, because I'm trying to rack up my numbers. As soon as I get my 25 people, I can send them off to Google and we can get this done. Email sent, says Steph. Excellent. Good. Okay. Well, thank you, Nancy. I'm glad you enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun for me, and I hope that you guys enjoy playing this duet. Ah, Tara will be an Android tester. Yes, 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 yes. Just send me an email. Let me know so I've got all the right emails and names to put together. So that's fabulous. I'm so grateful. So grateful. It's been a long process. An Android tablet. Excellent. Okay. She's got an iPhone and an Android tablet. Lori, you are the best. All right. Okay. So that's all I have for you for tonight. So if you have no more questions, I've been kind of hanging around thinking there might be something here, but what you want to do is just, think about try a piece that you know fairly well, but want to review perhaps, and try doing this with it. Play through the melody, find that melody, then find some of those other parts and try putting it in and pulling it back that way. It's a terrific way to review a piece. It's really good for this. Adelaide says, so glad she stayed up for this. She's going to learn this for a gig next month. Can already play most of it thanks to this method. There you go. My email address? Pfft. It's very simple. Anne, ANNE, @harpmastery.com. Thank you, Steph, for taking care of me. Anne, ANNE, @harpmastery.com. It must be someplace on the website. But you can, and if you reply to any of our emails, I think it comes to our team. So, our tiny little team. So, all right. Thank you so much for being here and so much for being courageous enough to try this, because I know it takes a little bit of courage. So, but use it on a piece that you are already working on or something. Yes, Anne with an E, like Anne of Green Gables. I know. I always thought those books were written for me, but I don't have Anne Shirley's, red hair or anything. So green eyes. Well, my eyes are a little green, but not like that. So anyway, all right, my friends, I'm going to let you go. Thank you so much for being here, and keep me posted on how this stuff works for you, on how these systems work, and what questions you might have. The replay will go out in an email tomorrow. I will change the download for my Harp Mastery members on the website, and I'll post it in the forum as well, and I'll do that tonight so you have it. And I will be talking to you all very soon. Thank you so much for being here. I so appreciate it. All right. Good night, everybody. See ya.